No, your eyes are not deceiving you. I am in fact making a top 10 Mercurial Colorways video while wearing a Predator shirt. Don't like it? Too bad. The Nike Mercurial series has been around for over 21 years. And given the fact that football boots were pretty much just black and white for the longest time, I really feel like the Mercurial series is partially responsible for how colorful football boots have become. And I would say over the last 21 years, there have been more Mercurial colorways than any other line of football boots. I don't know that for sure, but I can almost guarantee that that is a fact. So with that in mind, in no particular order, here is what I consider to be the top 10 Mercurial colorways of all time. If you guys do end up enjoying this video and perhaps want to see more top 5 and top 10 videos on the channel, don't forget to support this one with a like. And if you're new here watching for the first time and don't want to miss out on future content from me, be sure to hit that subscribe button along with the little bell notification so you get notified when the next new video goes live. So here are my picks, and don't get mad if I left your favorite off the list. If you have any picks of your own, feel free to leave them down below in the comments. The CR7 Galaxy Nike Mercurial Vapor 9. To a lot of people, this is the greatest Mercurial colorway of all time, and it's hard to argue against that considering that these boots legitimately look like space. We've never seen this before from Nike. It was a popular thing that they had done on basketball shoes, but to feature it on a football boot, especially something as iconic as a Mercurial with Cristiano Ronaldo's name on it, mainly just this little CR7 logo on the heel, it's something that was extremely well received, and there's no denying that this isn't a very cool looking pair of football boots. If Nike is ever going to remake a classic colorway of Mercurial, while these technically aren't that old, this is a pattern that I'm sure a lot of people would like to see back again. The 2014 World Cup Nike Mercurial Superfly 4 in Hyper Punch, Volt, Gold, and Black. Now, I have to be honest with you guys in saying that this isn't one of my personal favorite colorways, but given the importance of this particular boot and given the fact that this is the personal favorite of so many people out there, I figured it needed to be on this list. This Hyper Punch color, when you look closely, is a combination of this kind of pinky orange color with some Volt in the mix. It always ends up looking more orange in video than it does in person. In person, it's a lot more pink. Either way, it is undeniably a very good looking boot, and it is the first Superfly, the first Mercurial to feature a knitted upper and a mid-cut design. One of two revolutionary boots Nike launched for the 2014 World Cup, the other being the Magista Obra 1, which I would argue is probably the better looking knitted boot, but that's a personal opinion. Either way, it is a cool design, it's a very unusual colorway, and the combination of the Volt along with this Hyper Punch color does actually work quite well, and they were obviously very noticeable on TV during the 2014 World Cup. The CR7 Safari Nike Mercurial Superfly 2. Now, this is a boot that's significant for a lot of different reasons. Obviously, it features Nike's iconic safari print in white and black on the upper, but this is also Cristiano Ronaldo's first ever official signature colorway. Not a limited release, not a colorway that he wore exclusively, but a colorway bearing his name, which is not actually on the upper anywhere. The only place where you'll find Cristiano Ronaldo is written on the insole. Either way, it's a very important boot for what would end up being an iconic series of signature colorways for Cristiano Ronaldo, who's still playing today and still getting signature colorways to this day. This is the boot that as a kid I really wanted. I absolutely love the look. Safari print I think is very cool. The accent of the neon orange, really cool. The carbon sole plate, incredible. The holes in the studs, I always thought that was really cool. But unfortunately for me, my parents did not want to spend $400 to buy them. The OG Nike Mercurial in silver, blue, yellow, and black. I don't have a pair. But I do have several of the colorway tribute remakes that Nike has done over the years, this being the MV/XV Nike Mercurial Vapor 9. Now, back in 1998, to have a pair of basically chrome football boots was pretty unheard of, and being worn by Ronaldo, the original Ronaldo, was pretty incredible as well, and it really started the whole Mercurial series. It is the OG Mercurial, which I think is why Nike really views that particular boot as such an important model in their entire football boot history, which is why we've seen it remade countless times at this point. This, in my opinion, being one of the better looking variations, although they did kind of sub out the regular yellow for the newer style Volt Yellow that I know some people are absolutely sick of. Either way, it's a very cool pattern, super modern for the time, and obviously very important for the brand. The 2002 Chrome Line R9 Nike Mercurial Vapor 1s that I also don't have. Shown here in a different colorway, the Nike Mercurial Vapor 1 was extremely important for the Nike brand, and really, I feel like this impacted every single football boot that we have today based on the fact that it introduced a silhouette to the football boot industry that had never been seen before. Yes, the first two variations of the Mercurial were extremely modern and very different in comparison to everything else, but this looked like a spaceship compared to any other football boot at the time. And even though this is from 2001, 18 years ago, it still looks modern and wearable by today's standards, even though, trust me when I say, it's very, very plasticky and not the most comfortable pair of boots in the world. The R9 Chrome Line Mercurials, in my opinion, being the best colorway of the bunch, although there were a lot of great looking Vapor 1s. The Black History Month Nike Mercurial Superfly 4, a boot that is extremely detailed and also a boot that I paid way too much money for. There's a story that goes along with that. I'm not going to tell it here. Pop up on screen if you'd like to hear it. Either way, this was a very limited release from the Nike brand, and it featured their Black History Month pattern that was found on all different forms of footwear and clothing, but released in very limited quantities in the form of the Superfly 4, the BHM logo here in black on the heel, but obviously the black and white patterns that you find throughout the entire upper on the Nike Skin top layer of what is a black Flyknit base just looks incredible. You can see gray on black within the Nike swoosh. You have those same patterns, but they're actually in a reflective material, a gold outline as a very subtle accent. The laces are even cool, and then of course the carbon fiber sole plate. This is, in my opinion, probably the best looking of the mid-cut Flyknit Mercurials. The white and gold Nike Mercurial Vapor 3 that I don't have. Shown here in a gorgeous glossy navy blue with a white accent, the Mercurial Vapor 3, in my opinion, is probably the cleanest design for a pair of Mercurials, period. I absolutely love the way that these look. And the white and gold ones weren't particularly special. It was just the launch colorway of the Vapor 3, but I think in the matte white upper with the gold accent at the heel, it's just such a simple, clean design, the small Nike swoosh in black on the side, and then the super modern, sleek silhouette that the Vapor 3 introduced. This is a pair of football boots that I finally got as a kid in the R9 blue colorway, also very good looking, but they were so uncomfortable and just didn't fit me properly that I ended up selling them off. Either way, that does not take away from the fact that I really feel like the Vapor 3, especially in white and gold, is one of the best looking football boots ever made. The CR7 Rare Gold Nike Mercurial Superfly 4, an incredible looking boot with a very cool story to go along with it. Now, this boot came out in celebration of Cristiano Ronaldo winning yet another Ballon d'Or trophy, and once he won the award, Nike put out a press release of a custom pair of Cristiano Ronaldo's personal Superflies with the lowered collar in this particular colorway, and obviously people absolutely love them. The boots have this glittery finish that we had seen on CR7 signatures that were general releases in the past, but this one was gold and it faded to black, and the combination of gold and black in general just looks very, very cool. It has the carbon fiber sole plate and the gold tip studs in the soft ground pro stud pattern that Cristiano Ronaldo wore exclusively, but they only showed that custom pair that he wore, I believe, in one match, and that was it. People really wanted them though, so several months later, seemingly out of nowhere, Nike decided to make some for the public, not in the custom Cristiano Ronaldo variation, disappointingly, but just in the regular model with the soft ground pro stud pattern, and they decided to only make 333 pairs, each individually numbered with the number right there etched in the side of the sole plate. Either way, very difficult to get a hold of, an incredible looking boot, and probably one of, if not the best CR7 signatures ever made. The Euro 2008 Nike Mercurial Vapor 4 that I don't have. Shown here in a different colorway, I have the Nike Mercurial Vapor 4 that, as I've talked about on the channel before, I'm a bit of a sucker for the Vapor 4, even though it goes down in history as probably one of the worst Mercurial Vapor models of all time. The first to include this horrible lace cover, but also the first to include the large Nike swoosh that has kind of become a signature design element of the Mercurial series. Either way, the Euro 2008 variation was extremely special in that it was a dark brown color, and unlike the regular Mercurials that had this kind of glossy finish, it actually had an artificial leather grain finish, which is something that we would see on future Mercurial Vapors, but that was the first one to have it. It was accented by a white Nike swoosh, which looked really, really good, but then it had the oddest accent color of this light blue for the stud plate, and you wouldn't think that brown and light blue would work well together, but in my opinion, that boot was just incredible looking, and you could get it on the Tiempo and the T90 Laser 2 at the time as well, but I thought it looked best on the Mercurials. The 2010 World Cup Nike Mercurial Superfly 2. If you saw any matches from that tournament, then you definitely recognize this colorway because every player wearing a Nike boot had some variation of this kind of light silver purpley color with the orange at the heel, the warning graphic through the midfoot, and then black Nike swooshes. Whether you bought Mercurials, Tiempos, T90s, or CTR 360s, they all featured this exact same colorway. So given that Nike is a very popular brand, you had certain teams, Brazil being more notable, having basically almost all the players on the team seemingly wearing the exact same boots because they all had the same colorway. I definitely think that the Mercurial probably showed the colorway off the best with the large Nike swoosh here at the front, and the Superfly 2 in general I just think is a very cool looking pair of boots. But based on the fact that this was such an iconic part of the 2010 World Cup, I felt like it needed to be on this list.